Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we shall be deep diving another Imperial Guard datasheet. And this time, we shall be casting our ever-critical eye over Ursula Creed. And I've got a bold statement indeed, but I think that Creed is an absolute auto-include in pretty much any Imperial Guard army. Pass the torch, Lord Solar Leontis, because I have a need for Creed. Without further ado, I'm going to have to explain myself. Let's fix bayonets and Cadia stands right into this. As is tradition, let us begin with a cheeky gander at Creed's stat line. Starting off, we have a 6-inch move. That's fine. Pretty normal for the guard. Toughness of 3 means that she's definitely going to be taking any wounds that get thrown her way. And a 4+ save with a 5+ invulnerable save with 4 wounds might be kind of good by guard standards, but let's be real here. She's not going toe-to-toe with even a Space Marine Lieutenant anytime soon. Creed, like all Guard infantry officers, is a support character, and she's going to need bodyguards, she's going to need platoons, she's going to need something to protect her whilst she gets the job done. If you try Lone Wolfinger, she'll probably get cut down without much trouble. We've also got a leadership of 7 and an OC of 1, which are completely in line with what you'd expect from a Guard character. Overall, there's nothing much to write home about with this stat line. It's pretty much a Cadian Castellan stat line, but you've got the 4+ save rather than the 5+ save. So if Creed is pretty much a Castellan with a bit of extra armor, what's the point in taking it? Well, hang on, we're going to get to that. Let's now dive into what makes her unique, specifically her war gear and her abilities. So being an epic hero, Creed does come equipped with some interesting war gear. We've got Duty and Vengeance and a power weapon. Now, Duty and Vengeance are the range weapons, and they're essentially the 2 hotshot las pistols that you see on the front. I actually quite like that they've made these a little bit chunkier and beefier than in previous editions, but in terms of comparing the Index to the Codex in 10th edition, these are exactly the same. 12-inch range, 4 shots though, so a pretty impressive rate of fire, and Ballistic Skill 3+, Strength 5, AP -2, Damage 1. I actually quite like these, and it's easy to overlook them and forget them, but being able to put out an extra 4 shots at AP -2, and probably hitting on 2s with take aim, actually shouldn't be underestimated. It's not going to be blowing up any tanks anytime soon, but it might cut down an extra Intercessor or an extra Khorne Berserker. As for melee capabilities, we've got a power weapon, and this is exactly the same as that on a Cadian Castellan. We've got 4 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 4, AP -2, damage 1. Having an extra cheeky power sword is never a bad thing, although being able to take a power fist would have been better. Power fists are really nice to have in the Guard. Being able to stack a couple up inside a platoon is decent, but we can't have everything that we want. And at the end of the day, these range weapons, these melee weapons, they really aren't the main reason that we're taking Creed. We want Creed because she has some absolutely bloody fantastic abilities. First up, Creed is a leader. Now, this is important because, like we said, that stat line's a bit wimpy. So you're going to want to attach her to something so that she's got some extra wounds. And you can go with either Cadian Shock Troops or Kazakin. Now, I think that the best home for Creed is in Cadian Shock Troops. And the reason for this is because Kazakin have Scout. And so if you attach Creed to the Kazakin unit, Kazakin can no longer scout. If you're a new player, you might think, oh, but if I put Creed into the Kazakin, does that mean Creed gains scout? Sadly not. Sadly, in this cruel world that we live in, it doesn't work like that. So rather than adding Creed to the Kazakin, which just slows the Kazakin down, you want to add her to the Cadian Shock Troops. Firstly, you can take Cadians with big blobs of 20. That's 20 more wounds between her and death. Secondly, Cadian shock troops, being a guard battle line unit, can have 2 leaders attached. So what I like to do is take a unit of Cadians and then add Creed to it, and then add a Cadian command squad to the same unit. Now, whether it's a 10-man squad or a 20-man squad of Cadians, this is just a really, really good combo, because it means that Creed gets access to the Master Vox in the Cadian command squad. And that is very, very important, because it means that Creed can do her orders up to 24 inches away. Normally, if she's just on her own or in a squad that doesn't have a Master Vox, she can only do orders up to 6 inches away, which just really isn't far enough in any way, shape or form. Taking the big blob Acadians, adding a command squad in there, adding Creed in there, just opens up so many opportunities and allows her to spread those orders around as much as possible. And let me tell you, you are going to want to do that, because Creed has had a bit of a glow up in the old order department. She can now order up to 3 regiment units. Woo-hoo! That's very, very good. Previously, she could only order 2. Now that she can order 3, and at time of recording, she's still about sort of 60, 65 points, that makes her one of, if not the most efficient ways of getting a lot of orders into your list. Cadian Castellans can do 2 orders, but they only save you 10 points. Platoon command squads cost the same, or should I say Cadian command squads and other forms of command squads cost the same amount to create, but can only do 1 order. Being able to do 3 orders for 65 points is a very, very good return on investment. So being able to combine Creed with the command squad means that those 3 orders are going out all over the place. That means if you've got Creed and a command squad leading 1 blob of Cadians, you could then take up to 3 more infantry units, and they'd all still have orders. Creed could go 24 inches away, 1 order there, 1 order there, 1 order there. Do you see what I mean? It just really opens up the order network, completely undoes any kind of order bottleneck. And if you're spending 65 points on Creed, it means that those other units, they don't need their own dedicated command squads. They don't need their own dedicated Castellans. Creed can basically order around an entire company. And between Creed and a command squad, you can get enough orders for 4 units in total. And that doesn't just have to be battle line. You could have a couple of platoons, a couple of big blobs of Cadians, and then you can have a couple of field ordnance batteries, or a couple of central units, or a couple of heavy weapons squads. And Creed can just keep ordering them all. And it is important to note, and a lot of people miss this, it's important to note that Creed might only be able to lead Cadians, but she can order any regiment unit. So Kriegers will take orders from Creed. Katachans will take orders from Creed. It doesn't matter. As long as it's got that regiment keyword down in the list down here, then she can order it. But wait, there's more. I know I'm not moving on to the other abilities yet. I've still got more to say about these bloody orders. Because Creed, she's good in any detachment. But she really, really shines in 3 particular ones. Okay? Firstly, she's bloody fantastic in a recon detachment. Why? Because you're going to be taking pretty much pure infantry in recon. And infantry needs a lot of orders. So being able to take Creed means you can support loads and loads of different blobs without having to spend loads on your order tax. She's also pretty decent in a siege detachment, because siege detachments, it might not be the most competitive thing, but it feels appropriate to have like 3 field ordnance batteries and 3 of the siege guns. Well, that's 6 orders you're going to need right there. Well, Creed can fulfill half of that order without a problem. But where I think she really shines, where I think she's most at home and is going to get the most work done, is in a combined arms attachment. And it's thanks to a little cheeky stratagem. This little beauty here is the flexible command stratagem from the combined arms detachment. And how it works is, in your command phase, you can target any number of Astra Militarum officers. So it could be all of them, it could be one of them. And the effect is that until the end of your phase, your officers can issue orders to regiment units and squadron units. So that means that Creed and other officers, but let's focus on Creed for now, could order vehicles as well as your regiment units. So Creed could order 3 Leman Russes, 3 Rogel Dawns. Or if you're thinking you're going to have tank commanders covering that anyway, you could make a little... It's kind of a crazy combo, but I love the idea of it. Creed in a 10-man squad or 20-man squad with a command squad, ordering 3 Hydras, because Hydras are cheap. But the problem is that you kind of run out of cheap orders for the Hydras. You don't really want a tank commander ordering a Hydra when he could be ordering something a bit more important. But why not have your cake and eat it? Why not have 2 or 3 tank commanders ordering around other Leman Russes and stuff, and then have Creed sat there with 3 Hydras just laying down an ungodly amount, ungod emperorly amount of autocannon fire. I think it's really, really good, the stratagem, because it suddenly opens up the bottleneck to vehicle orders. Now, you may have noticed that the flexible command stratagem did cost 2 command points, but we have got a way of fixing that, and that is Creed's Tactical Genius ability. If you're a new player, there's absolutely 0 point in reading this paragraph out because it's actually wrong. Yep, our codex came printed with a completely wrong ability. Don't you love it when it's out of date before it's even released? So essentially what has happened is over the course of 10th edition, there's been a series of FAQs and changes and whatnot around abilities that let you get stratagems for 0 CP. And now they don't work like that. Now what happens is they reduce the cost of CP by 1. So if you have a 1 CP stratagem, it becomes a 0 CP stratagem. In the case of flexible command, it goes from being a 2 CP stratagem to a 1 CP stratagem. So don't worry about reading this bit. Just know, long story short, that currently, at the time of recording this video, that Creed does not give you a stratagem for free, but she does allow you to do a stratagem once per battle round for 1 less CP. The end result of that being is that if you want to use Creed with flexible command, she can actually do it for 1 command point a pop rather than 2 command points. And that suddenly becomes a lot more viable because 2 CP is a bit much. Think about it, you've got to spend the majority of the CP that you're going to have trying to just be able to order vehicles around. That's not great. Being able to do it for 1 CP, suddenly a lot more attractive. And don't forget, if you do it on Creed's unit, then she will actually have a chance to regenerate the CP as well. Because if she's in a unit of Cadent Shock Troops and they have got a Vox Caster, then on a 4+, you don't even spend that CP, you get it back. Now, Creed does have one last ability here, which is Lord Castellan, and while this model is leading a unit, that unit can be affected by up to 2 different orders at the same time. That's really good. It's often an ability that gets overlooked because you think of Creed in terms of let's hand out orders to all of these other units, but in theory, she's got 3 orders. 2 of those could go on the unit that she is leading. And you might want to do that if you really need to get some proper firepower downrange. Maybe you want to go 1st rank fire, 2nd rank fire, and the take aim order on 1 unit. That's actually really, really viable. Because I think if you've got a 20-man blob of Cadians, and then you've added a Cadian command squad in there, and you've given that Cadian command squad 2 plasma guns, well then you've got 2 plasma guns in the Cadian command squad, you've got 2 plasma guns in the Cadian big blob, that's 4 plasma guns all getting 3 shots each, thanks to 1st rank fire plus rapid fire. That's 12 plasma gun shots, and they're still going to get to hit on 3s as well, thanks to having take aim on top of that. So Lord Castellan's actually a decent ability. You'll probably just find it comes up as and when you need it. It's a tool to have in the toolbox. You should definitely be thinking about Creed in terms of being able to order as many different units as possible, really getting you lots of cheap orders into your list. But as the game goes on, maybe a few units die, maybe you have less other units that need orders, and then Creed can start double stacking orders onto her unit. One thing to mention is that you can't double stack the same order. You used to be able to, they've changed it. So you can't go double move and have your guys running around with like 12 inches. You can't go double 1st rank fire and have your guys running around with like 1,000,000 plasma gun shots. No, You can absolutely have two different orders, but you can't have two of the same orders. In fact, it's very specific in the way it's worded here as well, and that has also been clarified in various other FAQs too. So let's bring this all together, because we've thrown a lot of different stuff at the wall. Creed is a very cheap character who doesn't have a great stat line, doesn't do a lot of damage, but is such a force multiplier. Not only can she order her own unit twice, meaning that you can potentially get a lot of firepower of a relatively basic infantry squad, but she can also spread those orders around far and wide, supporting many, many different units in your army. She's probably the cheapest way of getting mass orders into your list. And on top of this, not only can she order lots of regiment units, but thanks to a combination of her tactical genius ability and the flexible command stratagem, can start ordering around a lot of your vehicles, a lot of your armor as well. And again, it's not going to cost you a lot of points, and it's not going to cost you a lot of CP to do it. A fantastic force multiplier, and it's because of this, I think she is an auto-include in almost any army list. Whether you are running loads of tanks, or whether you are running mass infantry, or a combination of the two, Creed's ability to spam orders and do stratagems cheaper, it's a must-have. Well, at least that's what I think. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you think that Creed is now an auto-include? Or do you think that lists can get away without taking it and still operate just fine? Also, what do you think is the best target for Creed's orders? Are you going down the mass infantry route, or could you leverage that flexible command? And if so, what vehicles do you think work best with it? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. All you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Wolf, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.